real or fake. We haven't done this in the grip, so I gotta explain. All right, this is season 2. For any new listeners, if you're unfamiliar with real or fake, definitely go check out our YouTube page, and you can see all the segments there. But basically, real or fake. So I'm gonna read a statement. If it's real, that means you think it's real. If you don't fuck with the statement at all, or you think the statement's fake, then you're gonna say it's fake. So that's what real or fake is. Now, Gina Rodriguez, a Puerto Rican Latina, posted on IG reciting Lauryn Hill's Ready or Not verse, saying, "Niggas give me heebie-jeebies." Gina Rodriguez apologized and took the video down after Black Twitter came at her life. So, real or fake, Latinx people can use the N-word. Who want to take this one, yo?
Can Latinx people use the N-word?
Yeah.
Everybody a deep thought. Oh shit.
I mean,
Can I just give a little backstory real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
My first visceral experience with people from the Latina community using the N-word was not a positive one. I used to help table at these breakdancing events that would happen every year, and it's predominantly Black and Latinx people, but it was more so like Hispanic people there than Black people. And I know that there's Afro-Latina people, just for the sake of the conversation, like I'm just going to say Black and Hispanic people, whatever, right? Yeah. So it's predominantly Hispanic people. And I got a lot of racist comments from Hispanic people when I was there, because I still had natural hair, and they would tell me I looked like Whoopi Goldberg, or they would call me Coolio, they would call me like...
Yeah, they were thinking of Black people with dreads.
Right. And they were saying nigga left, and they were saying nigga left and right in front of me.
Yeah,
so my first experience with Hispanic people using the N-word was definitely not a positive one. So that might influence, it may or may not influence my final answer. I'm honestly doing this to jog out what my final answer is, because I'm not sure what it is yet. But I'm just saying that's the foundation that I started the shit on. And I used to have to tell them, like, look, you're spinning on your head to a Black man right now. Like this break beat that you're doing windmills and cartwheels to, you're doing that shit to a Black man. So don't fucking forget that. So
they are heavy in the brick community.
They are heavy. They are out here. Okay. Is Latinx also like
Latinx? Okay, I learned this today. If anyone else is out there is confused,
because this is a new term. Like
it's the politically correct way, I guess, to address Latinos and Latinas, because the Spanish way of speaking, the masculine words end in O, and the feminine words end in A. Yeah. And so instead of saying Latino or Latina, they say Latinx.
Yes, gender neutral.
Gender neutral.
I'm proud of you, Rome, you doing good. I was like, all right, my man learned it. All right. Do your Google, son.
I mean,
does that count people from like Spain?
Nah, those are Spaniards.
Yeah, because they're actually
Spaniards.
European, Spaniards, Spain.
Does it count anybody from those European?
Nah.
But this would go into your answer about people being able to use this N-word, because the Latinx community, they're not necessarily Spaniards, yo. These are, I mean, they Puerto Ricans, Dominicans.
All right.
They're all Afro-Latina people.
They're like...
Nah, not necessarily, no.
All right, this is real or fake?
Nah, yeah, you answered mine.
I don't know. Can you just say what you got to say and then come back to me?
All right, but my answer is kind of all over the place.
Oh, God.
Well, I'm kind of all over the place with
all
it,
right,
too.
Word. So,
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Now, I'd like to preface this by saying G lives in Boston, right?
Okay.
I grew up with Black and Hispanic people using the N-word, right? So, I view it from two different standpoints. However, I'm going to say the statement is fake. But the reason why is, how do you define Latinx, right? So Latinx is a blanket term, right, that doesn't necessarily define race, right? It just defines a location. So if you're a person from Latin America, so that could be South America or the Caribbean islands that were occupied by Spain, you're either Latino or Latina, right? Or a person who's gender nonconforming, whatever, Latinx, whatever. But you could be white, you could be native, you could be 100% of sub-Saharan African descent, and all be under that one label of Latinx, right? So now, to me, if you're black, like person who's either black or black passing, who's from a Latin country, see, I'm about to say two things that's going to be like, oh, whoa, this dude, people rocking with me, and I'm about to switch up.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to say two things that's going to be kind of odd. But the first thing, if they're black, I could give them a pass. However, even if it said Afro-Latino or black Latinx people, I would still say fake. And this is coming from a brother who says the N-word, which I think I said this before. I don't even believe Caribbean people or continental Africans should say the N-word.
Oh,
real rap. Yo, it sounds. I'm being honest, y'all. I don't believe they should. Because if you look down on African Americans, you shouldn't be allowed to use it at all.
You know what? Yeah.
The Latin community is notorious for talking greasy towards black people. So if you saying, oh, I should be able to say it, I hope you also G-check in your uncle or your dad or your mother who bashes African Americans. You see what I'm saying? So it's easy for people to rep the culture when it benefits them. But when it comes to literally advocating for black people or African Americans and advocating for like rights that benefit black people, they're always silent. So if you're not willing to put your neck on the line for the people that provided you that culture, then you shouldn't even be allowed to say it. I don't co-sign white boys saying that shit to me at all. Like, at all. I don't give a fuck. Even if you're a quote-unquote ally, I'll still be like, yo, watch your mouth. Now, the only people I'll tolerate is literally people who are of African descent. Because for the most part, I'm being honest, a lot of brothers that are biracial, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cape Verdean, like a lot of even the light-skinned brothers that you see, when they get pulled over, police treat them like niggas. Yeah. Like, for real. They get treated like men of color, specifically black. I don't even think, like, these white cops see a distinction. They don't go like, oh, yo, he's kind of light-skinned, so we'll treat him slightly better than a dark-skinned brother. Nah, they treat us all the same. So that's why, to me, it's like, it's a lived experience. And in America, anyways, I'm just talking about in America. In other countries, they might be like, nah, we're not having it. You're an octoroon or whatever, you're not a part of whatever. But like here in America, it's like literally the one drop rule. For example, Gina Rodriguez, I'm looking at a picture of her right now. I don't see a white woman at all, you know? So
Right.
I don't think she benefits.
She got like a little bit of a conk though. She got the conk. It's just a blowout.
Like she looks kind of like she could either be biracial or she could be biracial, or I would just say like black, because I read her name, Gina Rodriguez, and I'd be like, oh, she's Hispanic. But let's say she was, I don't know, Gina Jackson, and I just seen this picture right here, I'd be like, yeah, yo, she's just a light-skinned black person. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? Like, really look at it, like remove her last name, and just based off of that picture, I would like real talk. Like if this name said Beyonce Knowles, I'm like, oh, yo, she's a black person, real rap. But if Beyonce was Beyonce Lopez, then I'm like, oh shit, I guess Beyonce's Latina. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so really, what's the difference?
Nah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, but I'm on some fake all the way, and I believe I go hard for my African American brothers and sisters, and I feel like Haitians shouldn't be allowed to say it either. So I'm not co-signing no Hispanics or no Latinx people saying that shit. Like, nah.
Interesting. So G says it's fake. Listen, because I'm generalizing it, I'm saying it's real. But only because I'm generalizing it. And I'm saying that because I feel like the word and the context and environments that it's used in, there's a lot of variant between what you say Caribbean, continental African, African American, Spanish, Puerto Rican, Dominican. I feel like I'm a dude who grew up in the projects. You know what I'm saying? So everyone there just used it just as children. I thought about that Cuckoo
Cow song that in my projects. I just thought about that song. That's just right.
But yo, everybody in my projects used the word, including the one white boy at the dead end. You know what I'm saying? So there was like one white dude who used it, and it was on he was like with the Spanish cats, and you know, but he's literally just, when you're a youth, when you're a child, when you're just doing the reckless shit that you do as a child with no parents around, following OG gang-related whatevers. You're just kind of growing up like that. And so that word becomes a part of your lingo well into your adulthood. And then you get to a point where you're like, maybe I should try and drop this. And then you realize you can't. Because that developmental stage, when you get to an adult, that word's going to stick around. You know what I mean? You can get rid of it. I'm not saying you can't stop using it. I'm comfortable with using it. But at the same time, I feel like the Latin cats that are in my life that I know can definitely say it. You know what I mean? And it's because they identify with black.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So when I look at that Gina Rodriguez situation, I don't know her, really. You know what I mean? So I don't know who she is. She could have said it with enough swag and no one would have said anything. But it probably sounded like, when she said it, it sounded like she wasn't supposed to say it.
Niggas give me heebie-jeebies.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so it's just,
and I'm like,
she didn't
why
even
did
know
you
the
pick
lyrics.
that part? And I'm
Right?
like, right, that,
Yeah,
that's
she
what I'm
didn't
saying.
even
Like,
know
she knows
the
the
but she
word.
knew that
Right,
part.
she know-
She knew that niggas gave her heebie-jeebies, though.
Yeah.
Relax, what about to get you the heebie-jeebies?
She just wanted to be cool.
Not
you
fake
know.
niggas give me heebie-jeebies. She was like,
Now black
niggas
niggas
give
give
me
me
fake niggas give me heebie-jeebies, right? Them Twitter niggas gonna give her heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
For real, yo.
Yo, Black Twitter gave it heavy G for real. You know what I mean? I think generally speaking that they can. But I feel the same way you do, G. See, I've never really broken it down into Caribbean and all this other different stuff. Yo, I feel like bougie black people can't say it because they look down. You know what I mean? So it's like that perspective that wipes you from being able to say that. It's like, yo, don't participate in my shit if you're gonna look down on it.
No, but they can say it if they are. Like, cause like, yo, but think about it, cause white people still will call them a nigga.
Yo, they can, but if they're looking at other black people the way white people look at them, then they're confused and need to figure their shit out, and they can't say it until they figure their shit out.
I don't think any of us should say it. Just to be on the safe side.
All right, let me just interject real quick, and I'm gonna say that it's fake. Okay, you guys go ahead.
Nah, but I'm gonna say,
So
like,
Sheen said
I don't
it's
think
fake.
anyone
She
should
says
say
it's
it.
fake.
Yeah.
But let's just be real. In the context of how we use it today, right? I do believe certain people should, I think they warranted a pass. And even that sounds controversial and problematic, right? But think about this. In a lot of urban areas, right? African Americans live in close proximity to a lot of Latinx people. They go to the same schools. They shop at the same bodegas. They go to the same parties. They work in the same areas. They live in the same neighborhoods. It makes sense that you see a lot of, like, I guess, cultural crossbreeding, I guess. I don't know. So, like, you might see some African American brothers going to the bodega to go get a pastelito. And you might see some Latinos.
Want to get a Jamaican beef patty.
Exactly. You get what I'm saying? Like, yo, in the Northeast, it's just different. It's not like the rest of the U.S. Here in the Northeast, it's literally like a melting pot of a lot of different ethnicities that make up the African diaspora.
So you're going to see some shit you ain't see.
Exactly, yo. You're going to see people from all kind of islands, you know, all kind of countries, all in one place. Like the city of Boston, although it's so segregated, it's so diverse. It's one of the most diverse cities probably in the world, to keep it a buck with you. There's like literally any group I could think of would probably maybe like, you don't really see like Samoans and those type of people, but everything else is represented. So that's why I'm like, certain people, and I'm not even the one, I can't even give out a pass, but like I'm assume if there was like a get out of jail free black card where you can use the N-word, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would think a Fat Joe would get a pass.
Yeah.
Like, who else? Like that Negra, how you say her name?
Amara La
Negra,
Negra.
whatever. I think she would get a pass. You know what I'm saying? Like, a dude like Cameron, he'll get a pass.
Yeah.
Who else is?
But a lot of our circles look like this. So
that's what I'm saying. Yo, we literally chill with like black Hispanics. You see what I'm saying? And this is where it gets a little confusing, because it's like, this is like a recent term, this Afro Latina or Afro Latinx or Afro Latino term. Motherfuckers used to just call themselves black, even though that they were Hispanic or whatever, they still identified as black. Now it just seems like this shit is like more exotic or whatever. It's like for the motherfuckers that like, you're like, I don't know, racially ambiguous, but they want to cling on to something. They go like, oh, Afro Latina, I'm like, all right, yo, what up, yo? You black or not? Literally, we know Hispanics that are damn near white. With green eyes, gray eyes, all kind of crazy shit. And they say, yo, I'm black. Shit. Yo, real rap though. It's like, I could rock with people like that. Just like I could rock with like a person who's like probably 10% black. Yeah. Rest of it could be white as fuck. They could actually be white passing. Yeah. If they tell me, yo, I'm straight up black, yo, I don't know what the fuck they talking about. I be like, all right, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like real rap. That's me anyways. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that. I guess I'm like right there in the. I only say real. It's fake real. I'm the one with real, I guess.
It's fake. Oh, I thought you said it's fake real for me.
Oh, no.
Got you.
Yeah. Nah, I'm only saying real because I'm generalizing it. You know what I mean? There's definitely a ton of situations I can come up with where they shouldn't be saying it. You know what I mean? Even when you watch the World Star hip hop videos and you'll see 2 white kids, there's no black people in it. Yeah. So they're not using it racially. They're literally using it amongst themselves. Like, come on, nigga, put your hands up. Da 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 da.
They were raised in hip hop.
You know what I mean? And so it's just, I think we don't have to embrace it, but we definitely need to recognize that is something that's out of our control.
Maybe the term has now evolved beyond a racial slur.
Yeah.
I don't think
and language evolves
that.
All the time.
Yeah, but
we don't have to embrace. That's why I said don't embrace.
But this is the reality that we're living in at this point. You literally watch like those fight comps on World Star, and it'd be like 2 non-black people calling each other the N-word, getting knocked out. You know what I'm saying? You're like, damn, this is getting crazy.
Yeah, and they may be misguided, but hey, for our enjoyment. You know what I'm saying? So
see, it's funny because
surprising, like with all the conversations about like Afro Latinas, like claiming and wanting to connect with their African roots and their African history, that it blew up the way that it did. I'm surprised that people are really this upset about this because I don't know where she grew up from. She has Puerto Rican parents. You know what I'm saying?
See how we view Puerto Ricans aren't the same like how the rest of the United States view Puerto Ricans. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, down south, they're like, they call them Spanish. They're like, yo, you Spanish. You know
if I go to the if I go to the Caribbean, any part of the Caribbean, like I would get called white. Like people will call me white or American or like somebody told me like that I was like British or something. I'm like, what? I don't sound nothing like I'm British. But like when certain communities are so far removed from other regions of the world, all of these just ignorances are brute.
Look at our complexions, right? In Boston, for the most part, we'll all probably classify as dark skin, right? Or at least brown skin or whatever. But there's certain parts of the world will be considered light skin. So it all depends on the location, the region, the area. So like,
some people might even say that we benefit from light. What if somebody told me that you benefit from light skin privilege?
They would say that dumb shit. You're like, what?
I did work at a job previously, and there was a woman, an older woman. There was an older woman who was darker than me, and I had an office position, and she had like a labor position, because we worked in like a warehouse. And I remember we were just talking about whatever, and she was saying like, they don't hire my complexion, they hire your complexion. And that's never been said to me in my existence.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
That's right, but then at the same time, I didn't want to deny her the way that like struggle. Well, listen, no, but I didn't want to deny her the way that person who might have lighter skin than me might deny me if I say that to them. You know what I mean? If that's her reality and people who are my complexion, even though I'm like, what am I, a cinnamon color? I don't know what you would like classify me, where I would rank. But if that's her reality and that's what she's experienced, that she's gotten a pass in different job experiences. If I've been picked over her,
call you might be like a caramel sundae.
Caramel Sunday.
And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine about this, right? When we talk about skin color, it's like, especially when people talk about women of color, it's always reduced to food. We're caramel, we're coffee.
People just relate to what they relate to. I could call you a tree.
But understand.
That ice cream song by Raekwon was fire.
And this is where it goes completely
left. I was gonna say that's always fire.
It just goes down.
I'm
gonna just dead it right there.
No. I actually agree with her. Like, and I think that's because men objectify women, right? Y'all just property, kind of, or like pieces of meat, or you know what I mean, objects.
Yeah, that's men in their sexual nature.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about sexual nature, but in this society, that's what we do.
Yo, if you looking like a hot chocolate caramel sundae or some shit,
but for some,
what's that pecan deluxe? What is it?
Yeah, butter pecan chocolate deluxe.
Yeah, butter pecan chocolate deluxe.
Scooping my ice
cream. She's like, this ain't all what I was trying to.
But hold on, I will.
I was making a point about how it's like you're reduced to food, and you guys are giving all of these examples about. Hey, remember that other rap song where it was the reduction to food?
I'm trying to help you out. We throw you an alley-oop.
But Rome's was like, nah, I think it's just the culture.
I didn't say I think it's just the culture. I said I could use tree to.
Nigga. Anyway,
do they use trees?
Hold on, but to go back to the real or fake, there's another thing I forgot to add too.
Black people like mahogany for Hallmark.
It's another reason why I'm real iffy when it comes to giving out the black card for a lot of Hispanics, and even like I'll even bring up Cape Verdeans also. So like when you read on like the history of these groups, the people that made it out of those islands that come here identified as white. People who visited either Cape Verde, DR, Cuba, Puerto Rico, when you go over there, you see a lot of black people that look like us and even darker. But when you notice them all here, they're all light-skinned. And that's for a reason. These are the ones that are afforded the privileges of coming to this country, while people that look like us are denied. Well, even when you think of Cubans, right? Cuban people that come to this country, when they leave and they try to get to the coast, whatever. If they're light-skinned, they let them come. If they're dark-skinned, they treat them like Haitians and tell them to turn back.
I mean, this is what Amada La Negra was trying to explain.
Yeah,
she said, "Yo, I came from my country, but the light-skinned people from my country don't get acknowledged." No. She said, she said the people that look like me usually don't really get
like
acknowledged.
You don't see on Telemundo, you don't see like black Afro Latinas or Latinos on Telemundo.
You don't see that skin tone anywhere.
That's what I'm saying.
Anywhere.
So if let's say you're African American, right? You're thinking most of these people are light skinned or white passing. When that's not the reality. Because we live in a world where we determine everything from what we see on television, people have a skewed perception of what it is to be black in this country or around the world globally. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm like, I believe that, people who identify as Afro Latinx, if you come to this country and you really claiming to rep the set, you better rep the set full time. Ain't no part time like, I want to be black when I want to, but then when shit get real, I'm going back to my Latino roots. Like, nah, F all of that, dog. Either you on the team or you not.